You ever have that little brother that is just, better at the game than you? No, just me? Well, apparently Australia too. These two teams are much better than the upper bracket teams that we just watched, and Peace and Dire Wolves, but not by much. So we got Chiefs Esports Club versus Order. Uh, this was another 3-0. The Chiefs got 3-0. It's too bad because I would have preferred to see Order over Dire Wolves going up next, but not because of anything much better. A lot of the issues that plagued the other two teams plague this one, but not as strict, not as harshly. Positives. Honestly, this region is much better out of all of the smaller regions at doing pick and ban. Nothing gets ever repeated frequently. They might have like a similar core idea, but they're always like very drastically different compositions that require different win conditions or different approaches. I can appreciate that. Nice. It would be better if they actually approached the win conditions consistently or well. Honestly, I think the best looking game was Game 3 for Chiefs. It had the best use of their vision because it was not consistent or very good. It had also pretty strong use of their composition in terms of team fighting. And honestly, what bothers me more is that they, and I mentioned this I think in the last video, they, and I'm gonna this particular video is probably gonna be shorter than the last one because like a lot of ideas are being repeated for Australia. This is just a thing that'll plague them for a while, and because it's 3 Australian games in a row, or the 3 playoff series from Oceania in a row, I don't want to like harp on it too much, but it seems like, so a couple of things. Vision, inconsistent, needs work. Please do something about that. Like, just anything at all. I appreciate that Chiefs, however, are the best team of this region to apply vision. And if I was to make a prediction, I do think that until I see Pentanet GG, out of the 4, Chiefs is the better of all the teams. It's better than Peace in terms of vision and application of neutral objectives, or like setting them up, or like engages. They are better at drafting than most of the other teams in this particular region. And honestly, it's very like the word is disheartening because this region feels very mediocre. Like even compared to others, like Brazil has style and like there's like at least some skill expression here. There's barely. I don't feel like there's any skill expression being provided. It's like they are attempting to copy high ceiling skills and plans from other regions, but not understanding all of the steps. And it's just absolute agony. Some of these games are really slow. And not like they're long games. They're just nothing happens and then it just all happens at once. Like these teams don't know how to play outside of a dragon or baron timer. They don't know how to play like how to like gain massive leads or do wave manipulations unless they're already way ahead. And I didn't feel like these two teams particularly were very good at punishing, which is a better indicator. It shows that like one team was actually doing stuff, and that's a good sign. I feel like if I was to compare the two regions between, and this is, I have to make this comparison because these are historically the two worst regions. Uh, like if I was to compare Australia and Brazil based off of the teams that I've seen so far, Australia would probably win out in MSI despite being inherently a worse region because Chiefs is a stronger team cohesively. They seem to be much more on the ball with each other, and this is based off of the teams that I've seen so far out of the two regions. And I can't say that they would be any good against any of the other regions that have played so far, and that's because the only other Korea started on the same day, earlier on the day I'm recording this on the 31st. So that's like the only regions elsewhere that exist that have been played so far are North America, Europe, Latin America, Brazil. That's it. Oh yeah, four big old regions. Oh, and Japan. Okay, let's compare Japan also. So those are the three regions that are most comparable to each other. And Chiefs, I don't think they would be better than Detonation Focus Me, which I think is the best team out of there. And it worries me. I can appreciate, however, that the Chiefs makes an active effort on wording. They make an active effort in terms of like making sure that they have the proper information before they make a move. They make the proper effort of like adapting every time. Like they were given blue side 3 games in a row and never stuck to the same drafting style. They made sure that like even if they got the same power picks just because of like standard game theory of power picking for picks and bans, they wouldn't stick to the same core style of composition. Right? You can repeat the same, and I don't remember which video I've mentioned it. You can repeat the same picks over and over again, so long as like the different champions that are not the same picks changes the overall style of the composition. And honestly, this is the most impressive team out of the smaller region teams. That's not great. All Knights are better from Latin America, and that surprises me a little bit because they were goofy. But you know they were still better. They had a better like plan of action. And I'm making these comparisons now because like we're well ahead. Sooner or later, soon there's going to be a bunch of regions starting all at once. The last region to start their playoffs is going to be Vietnam in 10 days, but in like 3 days, every other region that's going to be having the playoffs started. 11 out of 12 regions will have playoffs well underway in 3 days. You got to pick up. You got to learn something from the other regions at some point. You got to, like, something has to change because these are not a great look. It's not a great look. Improve your wave manipulation because you'll be playing against Direwolves and they don't know how to play against that. If I was to give a prediction, Chiefs are probably going to beat Direwolves, maybe like 3-1. I think Direwolves were very unimpressive, but at least they showed better preparation for their series, even if they were really bad at the execution for it. So, like, this region worries me a little bit because, like, come on. Direwolves and Chiefs here have shown that they actually do want to play a macro game, but they just haven't quite clicked with it. It's unfortunate. I've avoided giving grades for these particular teams because, like, it's hard to evaluate stomps like these when there's not enough information given across the spectrum, and they're not very well executed games. I would have given everybody like a D, and that feels unfair because like I'd rather see more from both Chiefs and Peace before giving them anything. Unfortunate for Order. We won't see them again, but at the same time, they were very sloppy with their attempts at anything. Let me, you guys tell me what you think in the comments below. I've got one more playoff from Australia before going on to Korea, and then Korea and China go back to back in a bunch of different playoff series, including Pacific. The Pacific region is going to start also. That's exciting. These are some cool regions. So, like, we're going to go from some pretty down lows to some really good up highs. I mean, hopefully. We'll see. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.